Hello everyone, and welcome to the final Tempo Strategy Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown for the Darkmoon Races meta. This snapshot comes on the heels of the massive waves of buffs and one nerf from the new 20.0 Hearthstone patch. The impact from the patch has been massive, with players flocking to a wide range of newly restored archetypes after the buffs. The biggest new deck from the changes has been Quest Rogue, which has the Caverns Below as its original power level, and there are quite a few other updated decks, including Even Paladin, Beast Hunter, Odd Demon Hunter, and more that are all making their mark. The Nitro Boost Poison nerf is yet another game changer that's driven Odd Rogue and Kingsbane Rogue out of popular play, but you're bound to see them again soon once post-nerf builds emerge and Quest Rogue fever settles down. In the meantime, the remaining Tier 1 decks of the Darkmoon era are still standing tall, but are they in any danger of being knocked out of the top spots anytime soon? We've got our fingers on the pulse of the meta, so come join our Wild Meta experts as we break down the format's latest developments. As always, we're going to start with Tier 1, and while a few things have changed, others have stayed the same. Case in point, Darkglare Warlock is still a lock for the best deck in Wild Hearthstone. Few decks can compete with Darkglare's early development that can land a board full of giants as early as turn 3, and with Zephyrs the Great and Power Overwhelming, the deck can assemble a one-turn kill in the later stages of the game. Some players are experimenting with Arcane Golem to replace Leroy Jenkins, which gives the deck more OTK potential on earlier turns, but even the pre-patch builds of Darkglare are still deadly in expert hands. Reno Priest also still holds its top spot in the meta, which might be a little bit of a surprise considering the return of Quest Rogue and 3-mana Bad Luck Albatross. Those changes seem rough for Priest in theory, but in practice, Reno Priest does very well against emerging decks like Even Paladin that fall hard to Priest removal and Highlander Suite. Bad Luck Albatross is still a bummer, but the bird doesn't quite fit into most of the popular returning decks, and none of the other usual suspects for hating on Reno Priest are seeing much play right now either. Put it all together, and Reno Priest is still on solid footing in the post-patch meta. The last Tier 1 holdout is none other than Secret Mage, and just like the rest of Tier 1, it's well-equipped to dominate an unstable meta. Secret Mage's insane disruption, board control, and over-the-top burn are all hard for experimental decks to handle, and it can be tough for Quest Rogue in particular to navigate a tricky minefield of secrets. Secret Mage hasn't changed at all with the patch either, so if you want to tackle ladder without stressing out about which cards to play, Secret Mage is still a solid choice. Moving on to Tier 2, we're going to split our focus into two groups of decks. The first is a selection of new decks that are doing well after the buffs, and of those, Quest Rogue is the elephant in the room. With the Caverns Below and the Quest Reward Crystal Core both restored to their original form, Quest Rogue is just as deadly as it was in 2017, and in 2021, Rogue has so many effective tools to help draw cards, complete the quest, and control the board that the end result feels borderline unfair. There's still quite a bit of debate on the ideal list, considering that Quest Rogue has to compete with existing powerhouses like Darkglare Warlock, but early builds centered around Bloodsail Flybooter and Captain's Parrot with tech cards like Animated Broomstick and Glacial Shard are already making their mark at top legend. Like its old iterations, modern Quest Rogue can struggle a bit against early aggro and board control, so it's not a lock for Tier 1 just yet, but that placing may change as the new meta develops. Either way, we expect Quest Rogue to stick around for better or for worse. The next returning all-star deck is none other than Even Paladin, the classic wild meta tyrant that is single-handedly revived with the restoration of 4-mana Call to Arms. The 2021 version of Even Paladin gets to enjoy unnerfed Knife Juggler and modern all-star cards like First Day of School, Crab Rider, Hand of a Doll, and Rebuke, and with easy access to Divine Shield, Wind Fury, and Taunt minions, Corpse Taker is also a solid 4-mana play if you miss drawing Call to Arms on 4. Even Paladin can hold its own in Modern Wild even if it's not stellar against Tier 1 decks like Reno Priest and Darkglare Warlock, but its main claim to fame right now might be its strength against Quest Rogue. Even Paladin easily keeps Quest Rogue off of the board while snowballing its own development without missing a beat, so if you're struggling against Rogue in particular, this deck is certainly worth a try. Our last featured returning deck is Odd Demon Hunter, which is getting a new lease on life with some of the nerf reverts and the shifted texture of the new meta. Warglaves of Azeroth might have been buffed, but with Stilt Stepper still in the mix, Odd Demon Hunter is still better off with a low to the ground curve, so Warglaves doesn't make the cut. Instead, Odd Demon Hunter is embracing other reverts like Leper Gnome, Arcane Golem, and Bad Luck Albatross. These buffed cards are fine, but the biggest boon to Odd Demon Hunter may just be the change to the meta itself. With Odd Rogue and Kingsbane Rogue falling out of favor, Odd Demon Hunter loses two of its most difficult matchups, and as it turns out, the new Quest Rogue is relatively easy for Illidan to deal with. Odd Demon Hunter still has issues playing against the remaining Tier 1 decks, but against an untuned meta, the deck has more than enough power to compete. Now that we've covered the winners of the balance patch, let's touch a bit on the losers. Odd Rogue took a serious hit with the nerf to Nitro Boost Poison and falls to Tier 2 in this edition of our snapshot. Since Nitro Boost Poison costs 2 mana, it can't be played alongside Baku the Moon Eater anymore, and the loss of Nitro Boost Poison seriously limits Odd Rogue's face damage output and weakens its ability to close out games against the other top decks. That's not to say that Odd Rogue is unplayable though. The upgraded hero power and early pirate package are still rock solid in a Quest Rogue heavy meta, though it may struggle to hold the board against Call to Arms. Our updated list features Bad Luck Albatross as an upgraded threat and Sinister Strike to help make up for the loss of burst damage from the Nitro Boost nerf, but even with these updates, your mileage may vary. Last but not least, let's talk about Kingsbane Rogue. While Kingsbane Rogue can technically still play Nitro Boost Poison, it's much harder to corrupt at 2 mana than it was at 1, and it's certainly much harder to play Penflinger with fewer cheap spells, so Kingsbane Rogue is going back to the drawing board after the nerf. With Quest Rogue swooping in to take its place, Kingsbane Rogue is all but gone from the meta, but that doesn't mean that the pre-Nitro Boost builds of the deck aren't still viable. If anything, there's so much less weapon hate in the meta now that Kingsbane might catch unsuspecting opponents off guard. After all, a giant-sized weapon is still GG. At any rate, we're placing post-nerf Kingsbane Rogue in Tier 2 for now, and we're keeping an eye on it to see how it adjusts moving forward. All in all, we've seen some serious shakeups with the recent balance patch, with the buffs bringing former Wild staples back out of the woodwork, and the nerf to Nitro Boost Poison cutting aggressive Rogue out of the meta, and opening up space for other decks to potentially thrive. We've only begun to explore the possibilities of the balance patch, and with Forged in the Barrens releasing on March 30th, we don't expect the Wild meta to settle down anytime soon. The post-buff Darkmoon meta may only exist briefly, but it sets the stage for the meta's development after the new expansion, so be sure to check out the full report on our website for all of the details, and as always, thank you for watching.